This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And today, for you all, we're here to record our last episode of TaleSpin. But for us, this is... We thought this was going to be our last episode of TaleSpin last week when we thought we recorded this. But someone, me, didn't hit record. So we thought,
Things
I was
happen.
like, should we tell them? Should we not tell them? And I simply can't. I had to word vomited immediately that, we fucked up last time.
Shit happens.
This is the lost episode, our banned episode that we're now bringing to you. Let's call it that.
We're uncanceling it. Yeah, yes. It's kind of funny though, because in our minds, I mean, the way our brains work, and we kind of said this right before actually hitting record today, neither of us really remembers what happens in this episode that I'm covering today, even though we just recorded it or tried to record it like a week and a half ago, not even. And we're both like, oh yeah. We both had to refresh or I had to refresh myself on my script, like what happened in that episode.
Yeah.
So it kind of
feels fresh.
It does feel fresh. We'll try to make it seem as fresh as we can, but if we sound less funny perhaps than usual, less surprise is the better word. It's going to be hilarious still, don't worry. But
no matter what,
if Grace sounds less surprised or I sound less like enthusiastic to drop a major like
already did this
because we've already discussed this episode, but we will try to do our best.
I am, maybe this is a preview for everyone. I'm still mad about this episode. Not the recording mess up, but what happens in it. I'm still mad about it. I was mad last time, and I don't remember the details of everything. I remember the one detail that made me mad, and I've held on to that before I hold on to anger. Like good Capricorns, like us do.
Like we do. We hold grudges like no one's business. Grace is like, I don't remember what happens in this episode, but I remember being pissed off when it was over.
And so I'm going to hang on to that this whole fucking episode.
You know what? Fair. Hang on to that because you are spot on and absolutely correct to be feeling that way. You're validated.
Yes. Thank you. And I think, hopefully everyone else, you're still staying in. This will still be new for you all.
Unless you somehow hacked Zoom. And
in which case, why didn't you give us the recording?
Why didn't you give us the recording? We wouldn't have been mad at you. Like,
you heard us talk about that. We didn't
maybe ransomed for it even to save us some time. But what
our ransom recording?
Oh God, which could go one of two ways.
We will negotiate with terrorists for our to not have to re-record.
Exactly, to get our audio recordings that we did not record actually back.
We're not strong. We're weak.
We're very weak. I'll negotiate like that. Like,
oh God, I'll fold so easily.
So easily. You can't get anything past me. You can get everything past me. So I guess one other little technical note that I'll share. This only applies if you're watching our videos. And Grace, you might notice throughout the episode, I've been having this like really weird issue with my office chair lately where like it just starts and you know me, like I'm animated. I move around a lot when I'm recording. It'll just like go down on its own. It just sinks. So like I might be like way down here at the end of the video and I'll have to like readjust myself. So
you know what?
The audio, I won't be able to edit that out of me like lifting myself back up, and you guys on YouTube will laugh. But
because I edit the video side of things. I'll just adjust it, but that will like slowly just I'll have to just zoom in on you more. So by the end,
you should just leave it, and then people can track like how much I go up and down, and
just your height the whole episode.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's a other behind the scenes secret is that my chair does that all the time, but it's very slow.
Okay.
So it's like throughout a work day, I'll start high, and by the end of the work day, I'll be low. So maybe that's the difference. And I can adjust between our recordings. Yours sounds like it's a fast track. If you guys just hear a thunk, we're not editing it out.
No, that's staying in. No, thankfully it's not that fast. It's not that fast. But like, again, I move around a lot. And so like that, I just hit my freaking mic in like the very second that I said that. But like I move around a lot. So it might just like, do a little like centimeter and a centimeter over time. But by the end of like the video, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
We're gonna track it for people watching on YouTube. Alexis is wearing
put
a
line.
Ninja Turtles shirt, and we'll see how much of the text we can read by the end.
It'll be like up here by the end. Like
we'll just see Teenage Mutant Ninja at the end. No more turtles.
Exactly. So yeah, bear with us.
We're off to a start.
We are a start indeed. And you know what? The gun went off like 10 seconds ago, and we're still chatting at the starting line. Like, so Grace, how you doing? Oh yeah, shit. That's
and it was a sprint. Everyone's done.
The like a 100 meter or whatever. So 10-second run. Anyways. So are you ready for the reprisal of our last episode of this amazing episode arc of TaleSpin?
Yeah.
It is based on season 1, episode 27, and the episode is called A Spy in the Ointment. So we'll jump right in. The episode starts like a lot of other episodes of the show do, with Baloo and Rebecca arguing. And in this case, they're arguing because Baloo has totaled Rebecca's car, or at least, well, he didn't personally total it, but he accidentally gave the keys to her car to a random stranger. And he thought the random stranger was a valet driver. And that ended up not being the case. And the stranger / thief just absolutely like stole the car and wrecked it. And then I guess gave it back to Baloo so he could give it back to Rebecca.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off situation.
Truly. So Rebecca is essentially yelling at Baloo, saying that he's too gullible, that she is not nearly... Yeah, I would be pretty pissed too if that happened. And she was saying she would have never fallen for such a thing, and that in the future, Baloo needs to like check credentials and check with people before he just hands things off to him. And Baloo's like, do you expect a valet to have a badge? Like, what do you mean check credentials? Not everyone's just walking around with badges all the time.
Do they have a vest?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, thieves can wear vests, I guess.
No, they can't.
But they can't. They're not. It's literally in the rule book.
Stores check the credentials before they sell a vest.
AKA they look at you. You look like a thief. I don't think you can wear this vest.
Yeah, I'm gonna refuse service to you.
Yeah. So in the middle of this argument, they actually are interrupted by a surprise guest. And this is a white and like gray jackrabbit in a trench coat and a nice like fedora by the name of Jack Case. And Jack, he says that he is a spy on a mission for the US government and that he needs a plane immediately and a pilot, of course, to get a super secret mission done. And Baloo, he laughs at this. Baloo's been around the block. He's like, please, dude, are you kidding me? Like, get out of here. You're not a spy. But Becky, she's intrigued and apparently very patriotic. So she leans into this Jack guy with excitement, like, oh, did you say a spy? Truly? We can help a spy? And she immediately is like willing to help because,
just like the vest,
Uncle Sam needs it.
They only sell trench coats to spies.
Exactly. That's a fact.
There's one store in Cape Suzette, and it has very strict rules about how they sell their clothing.
You have to go through like a bouncer to get into each like section of that store.
They need to see like your W-9. They got to get all the info, your W-2s. Know who's paying you.
Exactly. So Baloo, he pulls Becky to the side, seeing how excited she is and like how she's fallen for this immediately. Like, girl, you cannot be this gullible, right? Like, please tell me you don't actually believe this guy's a spy. And she's like, well, he says he is, so obviously I believe it. No one just says they're a spy. And Baloo says that she needs to ask this man for some credentials, as she has been hounding him to do.
Just 30 seconds ago.
Literally, like it's fresh in our memories. Becky, where you been, girl? You can't walk away.
It was the last sentence out of your mouth before this guy walked up.
So Becky is like, well, spies don't just go around with badges. And even if they did, they're probably in invisible ink anyways. So he's not going to have anything to show us. We just have to believe him, Baloo. So Becky is the boss. She pays the bills.
True.
She's the one with the MBA. She's the one who owns this place. So Baloo backs up and was like, fine, whatever. And she walks over and tells Jack that they will gladly help him and their country in completing this
Mm-hmm.
mission. So they get on the plane. They're up in the air. Baloo obviously is flying. He's the pilot. And he decides, like, all right, now that we're in the air, I should probably figure out where we're going since I am, the
Flying in
pilot.
circles.
I am flying just literally until they get some direction.
Yeah.
But
Just
Jack
wasting
is
fuel.
still, yeah, which I'm sure Becky loves, by the way.
Yeah, she's
Honestly,
like,
she's probably thinking of this like, oh no, we're just itemizing everything. We'll send it to the
we'll invoice the
CIA or
government.
whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
The
Jack is
invoice just
still
says government.
government, that's it, no agency. So Jack, though, is still refusing to disclose any of this information to Baloo, saying that it's on a need to know basis. And Baloo's like, well, again, I'm the pilot, so I need to
To
know
know.
where are we going.
Yep.
Jack, he's like, look, he did jot down some very basic and vague instructions on like a post-it note
Uh-huh.
and posted that onto the dashboard or whatever for Baloo. And he's like, just follow those instructions. That's all you need to know. And once you get there, you'll drop me off. I have a package that's strapped to my chest. He like shows them. I'm gonna get in there, swap it with another package, and I'll come right back on the plane and we can get back to Cape Suzette. That's all. So all you have to do is worry about getting me there. I'll do everything else.
Easy.
And yeah, sure, easy, right? Can't go wrong, as we
He
know in
drops
the
that's
90s cartoons about anthropomorphized animals. Nothing ever goes
when things are
wrong.
strapped to their chest, not
Yeah, exactly.
worrisome, not
None.
still relevant today,
Mm-mm.
not a bad sign.
Especially when you say you're like a secret agent or something.
Yes, an
And
undisclosed thing on your chest.
yeah, and even more so when you quickly learn, if you're in Baloo's position, that it looks like you're going into enemy airspace.
Sorry.
Because as they make their way through the air, and Baloo is like reading these vague instructions that Jack
Uh-huh.
has given him, Baloo looks at Jack like, hey, listen, I'm pretty familiar with these airs. With this airspace. I'm a pretty good pilot. And it seems to me like we're getting really close to Thimbrian airspace. And at this point, Baloo is like, I'm going to need you to tell me that we're not getting close to Thimbrian airspace. And Jack is like, oh, no, 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 no. We're not just getting near Thimbrian airspace. We're actually going to go through it over the border because I need to switch this package out with another one that's in Thembria.
Still
And this
totally not
pisses Baloo
worrisome.
off.
Still
No,
totally fine and chill. Great.
totally cool, all good. And Baloo is obviously pissed because he knows about Thembria. And so we kind of covered Thembria in one of your last episode, or maybe it was your last episode where which
Yeah,
one was Cruel and Unusual Punish?
yeah, the
Essentially
prisoners of weight.
the prisoners of weight, yes, the
POW.
essentially prisoners
Yes.
camp that exists full of just like warthogs and stuff. So we kind of brought it
Yes.
up, but Thembria is this antagonistic country to Cape Suzette or whatever country
Essentially the
Baloo.
USSR
It basically
slash
is how it's like
Eastern Germany.
Stalinist era, we'll say, of a certain former
Yes.
country. And it's like a
Yes.
recurring location in this series where it's just a bunch of warthogs dressed in very kind of fascistic and
If you
uh
will.
if you will, sort of military garb, and they are
Yep.
just pretty violent people or
Yep.
warthogs and always angry. And clearly, everyone in Cape Suzette is pretty terrified of
Yeah,
them.
they
They're
have
always,
firing squads that Blue's almost been killed
exactly
by them.
multiple times, including today. So,
Great.
as yeah, so as
The tradition
Baloo is
continues for
it
Baloo.
continues. So yeah, Baloo, he's warning Jack now that like, hey, we can't go over their border. You can't just go into Thimbria unannounced. They're horrible. They're crazy over there. And Baloo is correct in this knowledge and in his assumptions of Thimbrians because literally as soon as he says this, and Jack is just brushing it off like, I'm not scared, we'll be fine. But literally, as soon as he says this, they start getting coming under immediate fire, heavy fire, and being attacked by Thimbrians,
Their favorite thing
obviously
to
in
do.
like fighter jets. Yeah. And, the Thimbrians give them kind of like a mild warning, like you have 3 seconds to turn around. 1, 2, fire, basically. So
Mild is kind of you.
exactly. It's kind of them even
It's okay, sure.
to count to one.
Yeah.
So Baloo is busy trying to outpilot them, trying to avoid all of this air fire, if you will. And at this point, Becky, she turns to ask Jack what to do and sees that he's not still up in the cockpit with them. So she runs to the cargo hold of the plane and she sees Jack back there, like actually putting on a parachute because he's like, oh, I don't know what you guys are going to do, but I'm going to get the fuck out of here because I can't
Bye.
jeopardize the mission. So I'm glad you guys have this one parachute on here. I'm using it.
Glad we
Bye.
have a one single parachute.
Literally, yeah. And Becky tries to stop him before he jumps out, but he's like, no, like I can't be found. They can't catch me for the sake of the mission. I have to jump. And he warns her, like, Becky, when you guys get caught, not if, but when you guys get caught, the
Uh-oh.
Thimbrians, they're going to torture the shit out of you. Okay. They're going to do things that are so horrible to you. Like, I can't even explain, but you have to promise me that when they do that, you won't give up the game and like,
Just little
rat me
zip,
out and just
throw that
mum's the
little
word. Just
zip it.
throw that on out this plane like me. Bye. And then he jumps and leaves. And, and Becky, she just goes into like 1,000-yard stare, like absolutely traumatized. Like, oh my God, we're literally under attack by
Oh wait, the
Thimbrians.
consequences of my actions.
They are catching up to me very quickly, very rapidly, all at
Mm,
once. So she just kind of slowly walks back into the cockpit where Baloo is still piloting like a motherfucker, like trying
yeah,
to
like
out
death
pilot all the
saves.
literally. And she just 1,000-yard stare kind of sits down by Baloo. And Baloo's like, well, where is he? Or like, what did he say?
Yeah.
And Becky's just like, uh, Jack had to step out for a minute.
Step where?
Step where? With our parachute.
Yeah. What did he bring with him?
Just the
Our
package in the parachute.
our
Our
only
only
escape.
parachute.
Yeah.
Yes. So Baloo, he's obviously very pissed about this and he
Yeah.
kind of just rolls his eyes and scoffs, but he's a little too busy being chased by military planes to like
Yeah.
really react and chew Becky out for this whole goddamn thing being her fault.
Yeah.
So I will say though, we've talked about it before, Baloo, he's one heck of a pilot because he is able to get away from quite a few Thimbrian
Oh yeah.
military jets here and actually debatably kills a few of their pilots. I mean, thank God we see their parachutes eject as their planes are crashing in a fiery blaze into
I
each
mean,
other and
shrapnel.
into other but exactly. And like
That
they're also
wing's
doing
coming
this
down
all over
somewhere.
the ocean. They're doing
Yeah.
it over the ocean. So I mean, they're just gonna land in the ocean and their parachutes will get caught up in those. Maybe
Right
they'll
into
drown.
a
I don't
Jaws
think
jaw.
I don't think warthogs are like known for deep water swimming. So
But they are
I
known
mean,
for probably being eaten by sharks if sharks
yes,
had the
probably.
opportunity,
If they did, yeah. And if they
they'd
like,
probably say
were
yes.
bleeding from the plane crash on their way down
Profusely
into
splashing
then
everywhere.
exactly. I mean, hey, if I were a shark, I do like pork. So this is not,
We were talking about bacon right before
we're literally right before
this
this.
episode we started recording.
So, I mean, I don't blame the sharks.
I
And,
mean,
I
what are you
think it
gonna
looks
do?
like Baloo's added a few kills to his list. So,
He's got like a little tick list next to like the steering wheel on his
now he's got a massive tattoo on his back that like every time
that Kit does for him.
yeah. Or Wildcat. Wildcat did it initially,
Wildcat.
and now that Kit's around, Kit just does the tallies, but it's actually like this massive. It's like some slang or some phrase or something that's like in this massive script, like a
Yes, like a gothic script. There's definitely a
exactly. That's the
dragon.
part Wildcat did, and then Kit just does the tallies with
Just
each fresh kill. So yeah, that's TaleSpin, guys.
Baloo's
So
running out of
anyway,
room. That's why he
yeah,
wears
that
that
back
shirt because that part of his
back is
back's just
covered.
shaved.
It's like on his arms now and
The fur covers
everything.
it up.
Yeah. So yeah, Baloo, he's great. He's good at this. He can chase or get away from a few of them, but the Thimbrians, they do have an entire military here. So he is
Yeah.
eventually outnumbered, cornered, and trapped by this antagonistic army. And Becky and Baloo are unfortunately taken prisoner. So
Yeah.
they're, carted into this, well, not to diss any particular country, but this kind of tundra-like, very cold-looking,
Hmm.
snow-filled town, and it's this very long, kind of European-looking sort of structure, maybe political slash prisons sort of structure of sorts, if you
Ish.
will,
Inspired
ish,
by
by maybe. And so, yes, they're like
a
shuffled
nod
through
to.
this, if you will, inspired by minimum at least. So they're being shuffled through these open, barren halls and very empty, snowy tundra again, like town building,
Hmm.
whatever. And they're taken to face a colonel, a little warthog colonel by the name of Colonel Spigot. And this guy turns out to be the head of their Air Force.
Hmm.
He's got a very squeaky voice, a strong lisp, and quite a Napoleon complex because
Yeah.
this dude, he's really small. He's like a tiny, cute little pygmy warthog, basically.
Oh, a pygmy
And
warthog.
at least that's
Oh,
what I'm going to call him. And he
oh.
further, Colonel Spigot, when he introduces himself, he states that he is like in this very George R. R. Martin sort of way. He's like, I am the tyrant of the new territories, the beast of Baldoon, the death dealing demon of Den Swipe. I am Colonel Spigot. Like, assuming that everyone has heard of
Has
him, that
heard of
everyone
him.
is familiar with all of these battles exactly, and all of these conquers that he's or these quests that he's conquered, etc. And Baloo's just like, yeah, I've never heard of you, dude. Sorry.
I can barely
Like,
even see you down there.
yeah, where are you?
You
Can
little
someone
bacon
lift him
bits down
up?
that way.
Oh man, little bacon bits.
That's what like all of the
Which,
rest of the soldiers call him behind his
yeah,
back.
little bacon. So this pisses off Spigot, naturally, who feels like he is the most important person, not only in the
Mm,
Thimbrian army, but in the world.
great.
And Spigot cuts the shit, though. He's like, shut up, Baloo. Like, I know you know me. Don't act like you don't. And he demands that Baloo and Becky confess that they're conspiring to disrupt the upcoming glorious Slush Festival, which also consists of the slush parade that Spigot is in charge of.
Mm.
So to Spigot, this is like, if you're going to attack this festival and the parade, then you're attacking me. This is
A
my main
personal
duty.
hit.
Personally, yeah. And Baloo is like, again, I've never heard of you, and I've never heard of whatever this festival that
This
you're talking about
parade.
is.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I don't care. We don't care about such things over on Cape Suzette.
Hmm.
So he leans in and he tells Spigot, Baloo leans in and tells Spigot that there's been a big misunderstanding here. Like, dude, again, we're not here to interrupt your festival. We're only here because some spy named Jack, and then Becky kicks Baloo in the shin immediately, like, stop, don't say anything. We're not allowed to give up the game. We can't say anything about Jack and his secret package. Spigot
Say that out
hears
loud.
Becky say, she says this out loud. Yes.
Oh, right. That's
Spigot
right.
hears secret package out loud and is like, is that a bomb? Is that like that's
Spy
immediately
secret
what his
package
package
dropped in
special
from this
event coming up?
plane.
Exactly. Bomb. And also, as it turns out, bombs are kind of common at this Slush Festival, as we'll talk about in a moment. So
Mm.
it's pretty natural for Spigot to immediately be like, okay, bomb attack, here we go.
Great.
And also because when he asks this, Becky refuses to answer because I guess she's loyal to Jack and because she's loyal to country.
And
So
because she
she's
knows
like,
she's already said too much.
she has, right. She's like, oopsies, that's my fault. This is all my
Oops.
fault. And I'm making it even more my fault.
Digging my own
So
grave.
yes, so she refuses to answer, and that pretty much leaves Spigot to kind of fill in the blanks and do these mental gymnastics to try to read Becky's silence. And he's like,
Uh-huh.
well, if it weren't a bomb, you would have told me. So since you're not telling me, I'm gonna assume it's a bomb. And I mean, again, even if it was a bomb for real, like she still wouldn't have told him. So
Yeah.
it's
Either way, it's a
probably best
bomb.
to just assume either way it's a bomb.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have
So
national threat here, so assume it's a bomb.
yeah, so now he decides, like, all right, well, if you're not going to tell me, I'm going to assume it's a bomb and I'm going to throw you guys into a jail cell now. And so he
Yeah.
orders his guards to throw them away and lock away the key.
Great.
And after putting them in their cell, now like being on high alert, he orders all of the other guards on the premises to work overtime, checking all packages that come in and that are being received for this festival. Because so as it turns out, the Slush Festival, I'm not sure if it coincides with like some holiday or with a political leader's like birthday or something. I don't know, but for some reason, a bunch of gifts are mailed in to
That's right.
a certain political leader who we're going to meet in a second. Like, yeah, they just send him a bunch of gifts. So I don't know if it's like his birthday or something too, but for whatever
It's just time to
reason,
suck up.
it's exactly. And it looks like Santa's freaking package room or Santa's toy shop.
The workshop.
Santa's package room, his workshop. Thank you. In this in this
Santa's
tundra,
like delivery
package
garage.
room to yeah, Santa's package locker. If you Amazon lockers. So it looks like that inside of this massive like building that they're in, right? Like they've got this whole room of conveyor belts like moving these packages through, delivery trucks dropping them off, and guards checking through all of these packages for safety. And Spigot walks into this package room and he's like yelling at these guards, telling them that they need to be on high alert, they've got to work overtime, that there's a serious threat, that something might be dangerous in one of these packages and everything has to go perfectly for the festival. So he is like really helicoptering and hovering over these guards as they're checking through all of these boxes, but also closely watching these guards through a window from outside of the building is Jack Case, our Jackrabbit secret agent. And he's out there watching and can kind of overhear Spigot yelling at these guards. And he's saying, like, shit, this is going to be even more difficult now for me to get my package past all of the, yeah, they're on to me. And even if they weren't, like, they're on high alert. So they're very likely going to check this package before it can get to the high marshal who we're about to meet. So as Spigot is ordering these men around inside, in walks none other than the High Marshal. And I'm not exactly sure who this guy, like what his role is. He's definitely near the top of command of Fimbria. I don't know if he's a political leader or a military leader or both.
Both.
Definitely he's probably both, leaning on the way that they're trying to
if he's
depict this
getting
place.
presents
But
on the day of a parade, feels like it is his birthday.
Column A and B.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little military, little policy, both combined, not the best combination. But you know, it is what it is.
Two things can be true at once.
And so, yeah, this guy, nonetheless, he seems very important. He's definitely a military leader, that's for sure. But he seems like someone who the people really care about for whatever reason, too, for better or worse as well. And as he walks into this package room, Spigot immediately is like down on his knees, bowing to him, like, oh my God, hi, how are you? We weren't expecting you so soon. It's so good to have you here. And the High Marshal looks at one of his advisors who walks in with him, like, who is this guy again? And the advisor is like, it's a very sick burn, like, pull that rank, High Marshal, pull that rank. And the advisor whispers to the High Marshal, like, sir, this is the head of your Air Force, Colonel Spigot. And the High Marshal looks at it at his advisor like, didn't I have him shot? Wild line to put in there. That is a quote unquote from the show.
Woo! Honestly,
and the advisor,
in this
even
show.
more wild, the advisor responds, well, not yet, and then just kind of bashfully backs away.
He like backs away to like look at the general's schedule to be like, all right, when do we have time for this?
Yeah, you could maybe as soon as the parade's over.
Yeah, I mean, he's for the parade. That could be the grand finale when some fireworks are going off.
Yeah. So nonetheless, Spigot, not yet. But nonetheless, Spigot, because he hears this, obviously, he's right there, but he obviously doesn't want to die. So he gets to some heavy bootlicking and assures the High Marshal that the parade is going to be a huge success and that there won't even be a bomb like last year.
Bomb? What bomb?
What bomb? Did somebody say bomb? I didn't say it.
I
You
didn't say
did. High
bomb.
Marshal. Did you ask about it? I answered and said there will be no
Oh,
bomb.
no, this
Not
parade
like
will be
last
the
year.
bomb.
It will be the bomb, but it will not be bombed. So
Yeah.
obviously this raises a little bit of suspicion in the High Marshal and his advisors. But Spigot's just like, no, come on, let's go on and get out of here and let's go talk. So he quickly rushes them out of the package room and they go on to another area to meet and talk about all of the logistics for the
not
week
bombs.
for the not bombed upcoming festival, if you will, that we hope for. Yes, maybe.
Yes,
So
no bombs here.
elsewhere in this palace, prison, whatever compound, Becky and Baloo are in, of course, their prison cell, and they are arguing, just as always, about whose fault this is, and whether Jack is actually a real spy. And somehow Baloo has gotten access to some food because he's just kind of like in a corner eating some soup, kind of living
He probably
life.
threatened to eat the warthog, and they were like, okay, sorry.
Okay, fine. You can have a bowl of soup. That's fine. You can have a bowl of gruel. That's all we've got here. Is that okay?
Steam. Just like at the prison camp.
Which one do you want? You know about the prison camp, right? You've been there.
They went to like paw print Baloo and they're like, oh, you're already in our system.
Oh, you're cool. Yeah, here, we've got your vitals. They like give him whatever like medicine he needs automatically and stuff. They're like, yeah, we've got your file. So yes, they are arguing in this jail cell about whose fault this is. And obviously we know Baloo's winning, but Becky is a good arguer. So she's holding her ground. And the arguing gets so loud and intense that even the guard outside of their jail cell is like, can you guys please quiet down? I'm trying to take a nap out here. And y'all, Becky, you're obviously wrong. Okay. Baloo is correct here.
Let me just shut this down.
Yeah. But the guard is also not too smart, obviously, because he's able to get close enough for Baloo to whack him on the head with the spoon he was using for his soup multiple times. He loves a punch. He loves violence. It's always his first resort.
Yep.
And this immediately knocks the guard out. So the two, Becky and Baloo, are then able to escape. I guess they can sneak the keys from him too now and get the fuck out of there. And Becky decides that, okay, well, we can't just like walk out of here. So we should probably get in costume, get in disguise or something and try to sneak out. So they decide to take the guard's outfit. And smart. His weapons and stuff. Exactly.
Also smart.
It is smart, but I bet you'll be surprised by who decides to put the outfit on.
God damn
it. For whatever reason, Becky decides that she should be the one wearing the guard's outfit, and she pretends to escort Baloo through the prison.
And this is like was like a large warthog, right?
Very large warthog, very large, bigger than Baloo, actually. I mean, yeah, so she is swimming in this thing, and like his gun belt or his holster is like hanging off of her waist and stuff.
Bad gun safety, ma'am.
Yep, exactly. But hey, so they get out of the prison, and just as they leave, the sirens begin to sound, alerting the troops that someone has escaped. And Becky and Baloo panic. She like tosses off the costume and they're running through the city trying to
holster, hide. Rebecca.
No, put a pin in that.
Okay.
But they're running.
Things
and they're
I
hiding.
Subconsciously forget or remember. I'm like, wait,
made you remember? Which one is it? Is that my imagination? Do I want her to keep it or do I actually remember her keeping it? Which one was it?
I'm not sure. Okay.
So they're trying to basically both hide from these guards and figure out where to find the sea ducks so that they can get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But Becky is like, no, we can't leave. We got to find Jack. Like maybe he's here and maybe we can still help him.
He didn't
but right as she says this, he did not. He just said, well, technically he did say he needed to. He wasn't clear enough. He was too vague for them to know. They got him there. He should be thankful.
They have an excuse. to leave him behind, is what I'm saying.
At least from Baloo's perspective, yeah.
And mine.
So yeah. So they're running and they hear someone chasing right behind them, getting closer and closer. And this person actually or this animal actually starts yelling at them, yelling for them to stop. So they panic and start to run even faster, obviously. And eventually they hit a dead end. And when they hit it, they decide, all right, well, I guess time to fight. So they turn around, they get ready to face their chaser. Yeah, he's like, I was going to do that before turning around, but whatever. But thankfully, they see that they're just being chased by Jack Case, secret agent, Jack Rabbit, secret agent. And Becky is super relieved to see Jack. And honestly, super embarrassingly, she runs up, gives him a massive hug, and is yelling like, Jack, oh, Jack, what a spy, what a guy. I'm so happy to see you.
She's reading those like detective pulp fiction magazines for sure, being like, this is what happens now.
I mean, the whole time she's like waiting for Jack to scoop her up and like run away with her and never look back.
She's
like
just swooning.
She will give up higher for hire if it means living a life on like the lam with Jack. Yeah, just running away, being his new like his femme fatale, you know, like helping him on all these missions. That's so badly what she wants. And it's honestly, the desperation is a little stinky. Like you can smell it through the screen. I was like, oh, Becky, this is not a good look for you. But girl, you got an MBA. You shouldn't, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. So anyway, Baloo, he sees this and he's on our level. He's grossed out. So Becky is like swooning over him and he just rolls his eyes as he walks by. Like, what a lie. Goodbye. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And he walks away. He walks away and very concerningly unpinning something you said before, like wipes off a handgun and tosses the handgun into the snow behind him as he's walking away. So I think they kept the holster from the prison guard. Baloo somehow got the gun from Becky and like he was ready to use it on Jack, or he was at least holding it behind his back. And when they saw it was Jack, he was like, oh, okay, never mind. I don't need this. So then he wiped his prints from it. And
I was going to say, why does he need to wipe it? Why does he need to wipe it?
Obviously, because his prints are on it and because they have his prints on file somewhere there because he's been in a Fimbrian prisoner camp before.
But also, like, what happened to that guard that they stole it from? Do we see him again?
Nope, we don't. I mean, not that.
I don't know.
I don't know. But
he's just throwing it arbitrarily into the snow where it won't be found.
It won't be found again. Like it's constantly snowing here.
Ever.
Exactly. It'll take some time. Their footprints and that gun will be covered in the snow.
Oh,
so
long gone. But yeah, that's so true. They've got his paw prints. He can't be traced. He's like, they can never know I was back here again. And that I escaped again.
Like, no. They will invade Kate Suzette for me if they find out. We've gotta keep this on the down low. Like, and that's also why he's so unimpressed by Jack. Because he's like, dude, I escaped a prisoner's camp with a terrorist, a literal terrorist who made a ramshackle plane that we flew out of here. Like, please. And you need us to just drop off a package? Sir.
Yeah, come on. I bet Baloo's also like, oh, you think you're wanted by the Fimbrian army? I technically aided and embedded a terrorist that indeed did kind of succeed in carrying out an attack and exploding a gruel factory. So like, cute. You have a package? Cute. Hundreds died.
How cute.
Because I helped someone escape.
Because of me. Yeah.
This country, if we'd had an extradition treaty, I'd be hanged here already.
I would be hanged. I would be so dead. And also, that's why he's so panicked when he found out that that's where they were going. He's like, bro, uh-oh.
I am wanted.
Talk about 1,000-yard stare, right? Baloo, as soon as he realized where they were going, he's like, oh my God, I am going to die today.
/ that's why those
Die another day. 007, die another day. No, like, that's why with today.
Those planes over the ocean, that's why he was shooting to kill, because he was like, that's my only option. Exactly. I can only get out of here with one way, and that's blood on my hands.
This
plane, shoot him down. This guard's gun, shoot him down.
Done. So
he's getting out with
yes,
Becky or not. He doesn't care anymore.
or not. He's like, I'm just getting out. He's like, that's my main goal is for me to get out. So yes, as Blue is trying to get out of here and find the sea duck, Jack stops him like, no, 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 you can't leave. I still need your help to complete the mission. I had to change the plan a little bit because like you guys got captured and I had to escape, but whatever. The mission must go on. And Blue's like, sorry, dude. Like, no, I am fresh out of help. I don't feel like helping you. I'm done. So he literally picks Jack up, moves him out of the way, and then walks the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But
Smart.
Jack, he runs up to him and he pleads with him one more time, like, please, the mission, like, government and secret and like government stuff, all that. Duh, come on. You've heard of it. Secret
government
spies.
secret?
We're fun.
Secret
We're
government?
cool. Yeah. And Baloo is like, dude, I don't even believe that there is a mission. And I don't even know if you're a spy. But Becky cuts in and tells him to listen, tells Baloo to listen to her and to Jack. And she's like, look, Jack says he's a spy. So I say he's a spy, which means we're helping him finish this mission.
Becca.
And again, Becky, she's got the MBA. She's the boss. And Jack's got the trench coat. So it means he's a spy. So Baloo, he gives in and he
like
agrees.
When your friend just has a new crush and their crush is like really into football. So all of a sudden your friend is like, they're love into football.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what's happening. Like, that's not your personality.
Okay.
Come on.
At all. Right. And so at that point, Baloo's like, fine, I'll help. What are we going to do? But before Jack explains that to them, we then see the Thimbrians back in this palace, prison, whatever, in a meeting in some nice ornate room. I assume Colonel Spigot's office. And they are discussing the logistics for the upcoming Slush Festival parade. And so this is like Colonel Spigot and his advisor, and then the High Marshal, the High Marshal's wife, and the High Marshal's advisor. So that's who we've got in here. And while Spigot is walking the High Marshal through a map of the parade and the festival and kind of like the schedule of events, and obviously Spigot's like so proud of all of this. Like, yes, it's going to be perfect. Look at how great my presentation is. And the High Marshal just like is yawning. He's just like, oh, yeah, sure. And when Spigot finishes, the High Marshal just looks at him and he's like, look, sounds pretty boring. I'm gonna go fishing instead. Let's cancel this whole thing.
This Colonel Spigot's life is over.
It's over, but he has one last bit of hope. He's like, okay, my life might be over, but I'm really good at kissing ass and brown nosing, so let me try one last time. He's like, but sir, I have worked, or the people have worked so hard on doing this all for you, for your highness, your loveliness, because they love you so much, and they want to give you gifts and all of that. And the High Marshal's like, I don't know, dude, every year it's just the same old play, the same old gifts from the people, and there's always a bomb. Like, let's just do something else this year.
The bomb is the assassination attempt is so overdone. It's overplayed.
I'm so old. Yeah, I'm so over it. It's so old. Like, it's starting to get a little annoying, not gonna lie.
Where's the bomb gonna be?
Yeah, it's over here. But right before Spigot can really try to convince him one last time to change his mind, the doors burst open, and in walk a trio of Romani dancers, no less, who apparently were hired to kind of like entertain the group before the festivities begin. And so they walk in, and yes, of course, this trio is just Jack, Becky, and Baloo in costume. And they're all, playing music. I think Jack's got like an accordion, and Becky and Baloo have like tambourines. And of course, Baloo is in drag. Just he's pretending that he doesn't like it because I think Jack is around and he's trying to like, act like he's tough and everything. He's like, oh, these heels. Like, these heels are just killing my feet. How does anybody walk in these? And Becky's looking at him like, sir, please, you were dragged this morning. Okay. Yeah, you had the costume. These were in.
Also, I like to think that this is actually what it wasn't Becky being like, I'm the boss, so we're gonna help Jack. It was this like Baloo, if you stay, and then she got off the tambourine, like, and he was like, he like threw off his like hat and jacket and like had the like dancer costume underneath and was like,
ready,
one last dance.
Fine. Drag to Baloo is like Scooby Snacks to Scooby-Doo.
He will be brave. He will risk his life. He
if
will
it means
turn
that
a
he
look.
can put on a dress and heels and a chest plate.
Yes, and we love that for
we
Baloo.
love it for Baloo, and he rocks it. I mean,
always.
This is probably actually my favorite performance of Baloo's of all the episodes we've covered so far, because not only does it work, does it achieve the goal, but he turns heads, Grace, and he takes over. He is leading this thing. Like they put on such a show. He is the star because they walk in, they start dancing. The Thimbrians are confused at first, like, what? What's going on? But then Baloo was like, yeah, remember you ordered us, right? And then he's like, all right, everyone, into formation. And he gets them into formation. Baloo's in the middle, obviously. He's got the tambourine. He's getting things Beyonce. Started. He literally is, because
he's the
high marshal is like kind of ready to leave, and he like looks bored at first when the dancers start, but then Baloo, he does this little thing, like he turns his head and looks behind him. He kind of does like that, and he
big plug for our YouTube,
at the high
everyone.
marshal. Big plug for our YouTube. Like I imagine Grace is gonna put a picture of this in, and also to see like how I'm trying to like reenact it, recreate it. Like
she's serving over here.
I'm serving only because Baloo is the inspiration. Okay, Baloo is the original serve. All right, like he does this.
He catches that eye of the high marshal.
He catches the eye of the high marshal, and the high marshal, he stands up and he like starts dancing with Baloo.
His wife is right there.
Right there. And his wife is not happy. The wife is not happy. Let me tell you. Mr. Steel Yo Man, Mr. Steel Yo Man, like that from in front of you, not even from behind you.
Baloo is also looking at Becky like, this is how you hook him, Becky. You can learn a thing or two.
And honestly, she can, because the men aren't running to Becky. Let me just say, they're only running to Baloo. Like all of these guys are looking at Baloo like damn, because look, I mean, guys like him thick. Let me say, I did that obviously. So they see Baloo and they're like, "What? Who are you, ma'am?" Exactly. So they, aka Baloo, is able to distract the Thimbrians momentarily, with his body and his moves and all of that. And Jack is able to kind of like sneak around and swap out the package from that he has strapped to his chest with a package that is nearby on this table, in the room where the Thimbrians are meeting. And so they swap it out. But look, Baloo, again, when he gets into character, he's really into character. So the dancing is getting a little intense. Like they're doing flips and turns and spins and everything. Bodies are flying throughout the office.
Baby.
Flying.
Bodies hit the floor.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Like Romani / Thimbrian style. Like it's like turning into a mosh pit in here with like Colonel Spigot doing turns all over the place. And at one point, Jack is knocked over. He drops the packages. It's a little messy, but it's chaos, but they get the job done, and they're all able to quietly kind of sneak back out of there. Like, okay, show's over. Bye. And so once the swap is complete, the team runs out of there and they get out of the palace and very, clandestinely steal a military tank and then drive off to find the Sea Duck somewhere on this compound.
Subtle.
And Jack is driving, he's the spy. So he hops into the driver's seat of this tank and he's like, I know what I'm doing. I've done this many times before. Okay. It is quickly made apparent that he has never done this before, because he is running into everything. He's running into buildings. He's driving through buildings. He's driving through the sidewalk, over the sidewalk. Like they are sticking out like 3 sore thumbs on a bare hand. I don't think bears even have thumbs, so it's very obvious.
It's even more obvious.
It makes it so obvious. So somehow, by the grace of God or just sheer luck, somehow the team is able to make it to a plane hangar where they do find the sea duck.
Great.
And
Are they still
Jack
in
is like,
costume?
they're not. They've taken off the
Okay.
costume, thankfully, because then that would be like five sore thumbs at that point. Like, what are these
They're just
Romani
like jingle
dancers?
jangling as they walk to the
Like
sea
Jack's
duck.
accordion is like hitting bumps and making noises. Yeah. So Baloo is a little pissed that Jack actually ended up knowing where they were going. So he's like,
Yeah,
good luck,
got
whatever. Like,
one
yeah,
thing
you
right.
got to win one of them, I guess. But Jack immediately runs out of this tank and gets right onto the plane. Like, all right, we got to go. Like, let's get the fuck out of here. But Becky and Baloo stay back just for a second, obviously, to argue. Because Becky at this
Y'all,
point is like, pretty sure you owe me an apology. Like looking around, like, see, Jack knew how to get us here.
Rebecca.
Clearly, he had a mission that we just helped him solve. So you owe me an apology. And Baloo's like, what? I'm not apologizing for shit. Like, I still don't trust
Yeah.
this Jack guy. And just as they're arguing, they hear from inside the sea duck Jack screaming furiously and almost kind of like shockingly, like he's both shocked and angry. Like, no, 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 not
But
again.
Becky, you
Not
think this mission was a
there.
success?
Exactly.
He
Like,
could be being
you
murdered right
spoke
now.
too soon, Becky. Exactly.
Yeah. Baloo's
And so
like, see,
Becky
we're
and
not out of
Baloo,
the clear.
right, like we're never out of the clear until we're back at higher for hire. And even then,
Watch out
not
for those
feeling too
lawyers coming to get
safe.
us.
Yeah. So Becky and Baloo run onto the plane to see what's wrong with Jack. And inside, they just see him sitting in the cockpit, hands over his face, fully crying, tears streaming down his face. And he holds up the box to Becky and Baloo and says, it's the wrong box. I got the wrong box. We have to go
It's
back
fucking amateur.
again.
Amateur hour.
Amateur. Amateur day. This is beyond hour. Now this is amateur week, amateur pay period.
Amateur
Okay.
invasion by this man.
Yes. So you see, during all that dancing and hip shaking and that mosh pit that kind of formed out in Spigot's office, Jack, he got pushed around a bit. And like I said, he did accidentally drop the package at one point before swapping them or swapping it out with the other one. And a classic 90s cartoon mix up. He dropped the package and he kind of looked at him for a second like, ooh, shit. But he was just overconfident as he has been this entire
Whole
episode,
time.
thinking that, you know what? Nope, I know which one it is. He swapped them. And even though he really wanted to believe that he swapped them properly, he never actually swapped them at all.
This
So
man.
Baloo, yeah, Baloo is pissed. Baloo is so pissed. He's just like, are you fucking serious right now?
Which,
And Becky is
correct.
more shocked. Absolutely correct. Baloo is in the
Yeah.
right this entire episode. Like, you
Yes,
cannot
for
convince me.
once,
Baloo is right. Like, Becky, this
this
is
is the
all
one
your
time.
fault. And
Yes,
so Becky is
completely.
shocked. Becky's like trying to console Jack, trying to be like, it's okay. I'm sure that all secret agents have bad days, right? Like, at least
Becky, give it up.
one, yeah, like, right, come on.
Drop
And
him.
Baloo, he's in disbelief and he's ready to go home. He's like, no, we're
Yeah.
getting the fuck out of here. Like, let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. And Baloo's like, or sorry, Becky's like, no, where is your sense of patriotism, Baloo? We've got to help this guy. Baloo responds, I don't know. I guess it's on vacation. I'm not helping him.
Guess it's long gone.
And Becky is convinced that she needs to, or sorry, Becky is adamant that she needs to convince Baloo at this point that that Jack is a spy and that this is important, that this is something they can't just give up. So she reaches for the box or like the secret package from Jack and she tries to grab it, like, look, Baloo, look, this is important. But
This
Jack is like, no,
bomb,
you can't. This
take a look
bomb that
at
we're going to
it.
just yank. But Jack's
Shake
like, no, you
around.
can't. Don't grab that. Stop. And he's trying to hold on to it. He doesn't want Becky to look inside. But eventually, Becky grabs it from him and she rips it open. And the box falls on the ground and all of the contents fly out of it. And it's revealed that the box is full of worms,
No.
real life
Yep. Gross.
Squiggling little wet worms,
This is
just
when I start
noodling
getting mad.
around. This is when I get pissed. And this is when Baloo, who is already pissed, gets even more pissed.
Yes.
And this is when Becky gets grossed out because she shrieks and she jumps away from the box, asking Jack, like, Jack, are those like trained worms or exploding worms?
Biohazard?
Or are they like carrying microfilm? Like, please tell me that those are
Microfilm.
anything except for normal worms. And Jack is like, well, yeah, of course they're not just normal worms. They're like very important, very expensive worms that the High Marshal likes to use when he goes fishing. Dot, dot, dot,
Dot, dot, dot.
dot. And Becky's like still holding out hope that this guy is actually a spy and is like, well, why? Explain to me like I'm 5 why a spy needs to carry fishing worms around.
Yeah, for that. Well, why are
And
these? Are they going to record him while he fishes?
Well,
Perhaps.
yeah, right.
Embedded with small
Like
cameras? Are these
very
drone
like
worms?
grasping for all of the straws. Like there is one straw left and she is just really reaching
Just
stretch Armstrong
so
here.
hard.
Like, please, like, yes, they are going to
Anything.
record him. Well, because he fishes with other diplomats and talks about very secret
That's where business
plans,
happens.
military
Yeah.
plans, and these spies are going to, I don't know, explode while they're fishing, and then it's like him
Yeah.
and the other diplomat.
And
No,
ta-da.
explain it to me like I'm 5, Jack,
It'll
please.
explode and ruin their waterways and thus poison them all slowly.
Right?
Please.
You'll release them on a dam and it'll blow up the dam and destroy a community or something.
Please.
So
Becky's like, please, how's this a worm of
please,
mass destruction?
please, yeah, please, how are these worms weapons of destruction? Like, please tell me. So Jack is like, well, here's the thing. Because again, Becky's question, why would a spy carry fishing
Yeah.
worms? Jack's
Accurate.
like, well, I'm not a spy, actually. I'm a mailman.
I hate this man.
But we do love our postal workers. We do. So
We love our postal workers.
But we
so
don't
much,
like
but not this one.
So Becky is livid and realizes that this fancy trench coat lied to her. And she even says that. She's like, but what about the trench coat?
What store did you go to in Cape Suzette and get this?
They lied. You lied to them. Where's your fake ID? You must be carrying around a fake badge. They don't just sell trench coats to anyone. He does. He's like, look, secret government ID. Boom. Boom. So Jack is like, but be real, Becky. Would you have helped me if I said I was just a postal worker? To which, like, okay, look, she wouldn't have been swooning over you because, like, obviously that's less sexy, I guess, than a secret agent.
It's still a man in uniform, Becky.
Becky is a businesswoman. She has an MBA and she has a business to keep afloat. Yeah. My guess is yes, because the government pays their bills. Exactly.
Yes.
Well, like they pay their contracts. Let's put it that way. So they're gonna pay the contract. Like,
if you
it doesn't matter who you work for, you're a customer. She's gonna say yes. So
yeah, she's gonna say you're still a man in uniform. We all love those postal worker shorts, those cargo shorts. 2, yes, government contract. If she becomes the go-to, like overnight,
it's gonna look great for business.
It's gonna look great for business. You just need a couple
website.
Government contracts to lock them in, like,
and you're set for life.
I mean, yeah, maybe they wouldn't have gone to enemy territory to get shot at, but like, if my postal worker, if my mailman or woman or mail person was like, "Hey, I need a little help," I'd be like, "What up?
Yeah,
what do you need? I do for you? You need some water?
You do so much for me. Yeah, what do you need?
What's going on?"
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, yeah, they would still help. Becky would still have helped you, just not into enemy territory. Probably.
Exactly. Because now she's like a prisoner of war or wanted, and escapee. Yeah. So anyways, Baloo
now she's a terrorist also. Baloo's like, welcome to the club.
Well, yeah, let me tell you, it's not easy, but you'll get used to it.
Yeah, you'll get used to it.
And so Baloo at this point, he chimes in, just kind of like Baloo's getting sassy now because he's like, oh my God, I've been so right this whole time. So
Yeah,
he
he's
just
like,
looks at Becky like, should have asked for credentials, Becky. And it
should
just
have
kind
seen
of like
that
walks away.
paperwork.
It's like
Walks, just
floats
leaves
by.
her.
Like,
He's like,
yeah.
also hire for hire is now an enemy of the state. Good luck with
Yeah.
that.
Great. Thanks. So, yeah, actually, wow, I didn't even think about that. Like
Yeah, the
literally
entire
helping a
company.
foreign adversary. Yeah. So Becky tells Jack to explain himself, like while casually holding him by the neck and the collar and like pinning him up against the wall.
Becky's gonna
And
push him out of this
Jack's
plane.
like,
No parachute.
yeah, throw him out. Yeah. She's like, we'll take that right back. So Jack says that his boss gave him two boxes to deliver. One was for the boss's wife, and the other, classic mix up, was for the high marshal. Like they happen to be on the same route somehow. The post office box or boss lives next door to the high marshal. So he was like, can you
They're
just
like right on
deliver
the
both of
border with
these
each other.
boxes? Yeah, they like live on the
Their
same
summer
cul-de-sac or
homes.
whatever. So anyways, the his boss, Jack's boss, told him that the high marshal really likes to fish. So it's important that his package got to the high marshal. And you see, the packages were misdelivered because inside of the box or the package for the wife was a gift from Jack's boss. And this gift was a very pretty jewelry box with frills on it and a little ballerina on top that spins around, when you open it and whatnot. And that box is what the High Marshal currently has waiting for him. And Jack's like, if he opens that gift, he's going to be super offended and insulted and enraged. Like, you don't want to see dictators when they get that way. It's not good. But Becky, she's like, I don't care. That's not my problem. I don't live in Thimbria. So, like, they're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And she's even more pissed when she realizes that this whole day they've been risking their lives. They've now been classified as terrorists, as escaped prisoners for a box of worms and a jewelry box.
Yep.
Like, this is not worth what we have just risked our lives for. So at this point, she doesn't give Jack an opportunity to try to explain himself any further. She just throws him into the brig that they obviously have on the Sea Duck, locks that shit up. And of course, you know how many freaking air pirates they run into? They got to lock people up all the time. True. So she's like, Baloo, get the plane started. We're going home.
Fucking going.
Getting the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Also, I'm going to save it for the end, but I do have a piece of wild speculation.
Okay.
About this quote unquote spy, aka post office worker, but I'm going to wait till the end.
Cool. But I put a pin in that. I'll put a pin in that. So
we'll both pin.
So at this point, Baloo, he's like, all right, well, let's go. We'll get out of here. I agree. I couldn't wait to get home. But Baloo, he also makes a really good point, though, that it's going to kind of be hard to take off with the parade going on. One, because literally all of the streets are like shut down. So they can't like even pilot off of a street anywhere. And also like everyone is congregated together and will clearly see a plane going off when everyone should be at the parade.
A bright yellow and orange plane.
A very bright yellow plane, literally a Sea Duck. So Becky's clever though. She's like, a parade. That's a good point. I guess, the best way to hide is in plain sight. So
is it, Becky?
We'll find out in a second. You already know the answer to it, not just from maybe knowing what happens, but because we know how these shows always go.
Yep.
So she covers the plane with some streamers and like bows and other like paper mache stuff to try to like make it look like it's a parade float. And they essentially just drive the plane through the city. Like they line up with the parade and they start just taking off on the city streets with the parade. And like the announcers are like saying, oh, look at these pretty floats going by, including the Sea Duck. And wow, I don't remember us having that plane, but that's nice. We should start painting everything yellow. Hi bears that are obviously not warthogs. Hi bears,
even though we're all warthogs.
Yeah. So Becky and Baloo, they're chilling now. They're in the Sea Duck. They're like, okay, this is kind of working. I think we'll be able to sneak right past and get out of here. And Becky, she's getting a little cocky. Like, see, I told you I had everything under control. This may have all been my fault, but I got us out of here easily.
We're gonna forget about it, right? Because
yeah. Awesome. So she puts her feet up on the cockpit, kicks back for a bit, like, yep, I'm a genius. But she accidentally, in kicking back, kicks on a button for the propellers that turns the propellers on the fan or on the plane on, blowing off all of the decorations and stuff that they put on it to make it look like a parade float, and clearly reveals the Sea Duck to everyone, including, of course, Colonel Spigot and the High Marshal and all of these other military guards who are
and an entire
participating in the parade. Because yes, and I did forget to mention it. I know I mentioned it when we last recorded this, but I didn't mention it today. This parade is basically just like a military propaganda parade where they're just like
in the
putting
Red
like
Square. We don't
planes. I mean, like it looks like maybe a red square. I mean, but hey, I don't know. What one could say, but I'm not one. Who
but
am
we're
I?
not one.
So we're not one. We're two. So I don't know.
So it wasn't us.
It wasn't us, but yes, it's just like military tanks, barracks, planes, all this stuff just going on down the street, and all the people like looking emaciated but clapping still on the sidelines. Like, yay, we love this. Exactly. And yeah, so this is not the place where you want to like have your cover blown as being enemy, like terrorists, I guess, and enemies of the state. So our clever Becky comes up with yet another idea at this point. She's like, oh shit, because they're obviously being chased down now and they're trying to just take off. Baloo's like, all right, well, cover's blown. Might as well just get the fuck out of here. And Becky's like, well, maybe they'll stop chasing us if we like give them a sacrifice, like negotiate with our enemies. They're like, they think we're terrorists, so we'll just give like them a terrorist or like a spy. They think we're spies. I mean, they don't say terrorists. So we'll give them, just like we would. So she opens the like cargo hold. Yes. She opens the cargo hold and just throws Jack out like, all right, there you go. There's your spy, guys. And he is like still adamant on getting this package switch. So at first he's a little like lost, like, whoa, what happened? Where am I? But then when he realizes like, oh, hey, I can give this package now. He grabs the package off of his chest, holds it up in the sky, like in the air as he's running towards Colonel Spigot and the High Marshal, like, hey, I've got a package for you here.
That's how you get shot in the middle of the square.
Literally, because the High Marshal sees this and he's like, is that package a bomb? Why is this man running towards me? And Colonel Spigot's like, everybody get him, like attack that man. Yeah, don't let him get toward. He's trying to kill your glorious High Marshal. They are correct in this instance. Yeah, very correct. Like that would obviously be the first instinct.
Yep.
And so the crowd then runs towards Jack. Like all of these military tanks and stuff that were chasing the Sea Duck, like stop and turn around and then just go towards Jack, and all of the crowd members, the audience. Yes, so he is just like getting piled on. And this now is the perfect distraction for Baloo to actually take off and lift up into the air now that everyone is focused on Jack. Yeah, they're like, fuck him. Fuck that guy from the beginning, for real, honestly. Yeah. But a tank still has its sights set on the Sea Duck, and it fires at them just as they are taking off. But Baloo, again, being a badass pilot, he kind of senses this, and he flies behind this giant ice sculpture of a massive warthog that is like part of this festival in the parade. And the missile shoots towards them right as they're behind this thing. And it then instead hits the sculpture and explodes the sculpture into this beautiful, actually like kind of grand finale of like ice everywhere. And yeah, it's actually pretty cool. And the audience like stops and sees it and is like applauding, like, wow, beautiful. That's actually really cool. Nice switch up. And so seeing that the audience is actually enjoying the events, the High Marshal, he looks at Spigot like, good job, actually. Well done. This is nice. I'm glad you today. Yeah, I won't kill you after all. And I'm glad there wasn't a bomb this year. Well done. Well done. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, the guards are like carrying off Jack as he's pleading his innocence. Like, no, I'm not actually a spy. I'm just a post office worker. This is all just a mix-up. Like,
nope. That still means you're a government employee.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Like for an adversarial government. Yeah. And he's like, no, like I promise, I have witnesses. And he like points to the Sea Duck as it's flying very, very far away. He's like, those are my witnesses. And that's the end of Jack. We see.
Goodbye.
Later, back at
Oh my
Hire for
God.
Hire, we see Baloo reading an article in the newspaper about the Slush Festival. And the article has like a picture of the High Marshal and Colonel Spigot, like, and the High Marshal's holding his gift. And the caption underneath it says, like, seen here is the High Marshal accepting his favorite gift of the festival, an ornamental fishing tackle box,
Oh, that's right.
thus implying that the High Marshal didn't even know what the gift was because we see
No.
it and it's a jewelry box. It is literally the
So
jewelry box
clearly.
that got mixed up. Yes. And so, after all of the work that Jack tried to do to prevent him from getting that gift in the first place, it ended up being his favorite gift from the entire festival. And
Wow.
obviously, Baloo is just
Fuck this
laughing at
guy.
this, like, wow, fuck this guy, fuck everyone, fuck you, Becky, especially. And
Becky, this
Becky
man's
is
blood's
just,
on your hands because you said yes to him for
yeah,
nothing.
like, there's nothing in there about Jack. It's like they flip to the next page and it's like, postal worker, Jack case missing. Like, has
It's not
anyone
even that. They
seen?
flip to the next page and the local post office has like a for hire ad because they have a
Yeah.
new position to fill.
Yeah. So Becky bashfully just like walks up to Baloo, like, see,
Yeah.
everything turned out fine. This all worked, right? But Baloo, he's not having it. He's like,
Like,
yeah,
bitch, it
well, I
did
mean,
not.
it would have been better if we never took the job in the first place. Again, like you said, Jack's blood
Yeah.
is on your hands, Becky. So there's that. But Becky, she apologizes again. She's like, well, how many more times do I need to say sorry before you'll forgive me, Baloo? Baloo kind of sits back and calculates, and he's like, 672 more times should do it. And Becky gets
Get
to work.
started.
She's like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And she just says it over and over again as Blue kicks his feet back, leans back in his chair,
Oh, yeah,
and just
baby.
enjoys the sweet, sweet music to his ears. The end.
Wow. Honestly,
Yeah, the
incredible the second
end.
time around still.
Yes, still, sometimes things are better the second time around. And yeah, I thought, before you get to your wild speculation, I'll just say my closing note is I wanted to
Uh-huh.
do this episode earlier in my arc because it is
Oh,
like kind
uh-huh.
of earlier in the series, but I was like, let's end it on an episode where Becky is actually the one that causes literally
Yes,
all
where
of the
Baloo's actually
problems.
right.
Baloo was 100% right to remind you all that, like, yeah, this is still Baloo's show. He may be a
Yeah,
bumbling idiot some days, but nah, Becky be
he ties
fucking
this
shit up
together.
too. Exactly.
Wow, yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, Baloo did come out on top on this one and was on top.
Hmm.
I mean, he comes out on top, I guess, in most of them at the end, but this one
Almost
he was
always, but
the entire time
he
he
was
was in the
right
right.
the entire time. Literally,
Yes.
yeah. It's like most times he's wrong, but in the end, he'll figure it out and,
Yeah.
it'll work out. In this case, he was right, literally
Yeah, the
from the
second
jump.
Jack
Well,
walked in, the
besides getting
car
Becky's car
thing.
stolen, but like we didn't
Well,
see
one
that. We
thing.
just saw the after effect. But like
Yeah.
whatever.
But everything
So justice
else,
for Baloo. Justice for
yeah,
Baloo.
justice for Baloo
Yeah. Hashtag
always.
believe Baloo.
That's right.
Hashtag believe Baloo.
Believe Baloo always. Hell
Yeah.
yeah, incredible. So my wild speculation, which is now, yes,
Hmm.
funny that we get to
I'm
come back to
excited.
this.
Yeah.
So yeah, so due to my little mix up of originally not hitting record, I was like,
Mm.
all right, I need to owe
Slight mix up.
Alexis something. How can
Oh
I
yeah.
sprinkle something in for her? So I was like, okay, because in our last episode, also, hold on, my dogs are now going crazy.
Doggos.
They have something to say too about this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They're also
last
pissed at
time we
Jack.
had talked about basically the like US postal inspection office. And so I
Yeah.
was like, and how like they actually like crack a lot of crimes and like don't fuck with the post office.
Yes.
But instead of fully diving into that, I was like, oh, it would be like also fun to dive into and tell you the history of is the phrase going postal and like the actual
I don't even know if
origins.
I've ever heard that. Going
Yeah,
postal.
so the origins of that phrase. And then as you were talking, I was like, oh my God, this fits so much better because this ties in to Jack. So the phrase like going postal is like, it was more popular kind of in the 90s, but it was basically like a phrase of like someone's like losing their shit type of thing. Like, oh,
Oh,
like they
okay.
went postal, like they like went berserk type of thing,
Yeah.
like berserker mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's mainly from the 90s. It like yeah, was ended up being on like, SNL type of shows because it became like
Mm.
such a popular phrase for, yeah, someone just like popping off. So it came from in the late 80s and early 90s. And like, obviously in this day and age, even to this day, not truly a subject to joke about, but also that's what we do here. There was a slew of postal, like post office workers, like mass murdering their offices. And
Oh,
like
wow.
across the country, like post office workers would just come into the office and like kill all of their coworkers. And it was
Mm,
like, it happened repeatedly for almost, I think, like a little less than a decade, but it just like kept happening. And originally, and I think there's some theories that like part of it, in the 80s, they became like a lot of automated systems started happening and like a lot of mindless work started happening. And so there's like
mm.
some theories of like, oh, did that like drive people crazy? But I did a deep dive and actually read beyond Wikipedia for this one for
Wow.
once. One other article. Obviously, we didn't do more than that. But it was a Vice article. I think it was Aaron Gordon wrote it. And basically, it was like in the 80s and 90s, like in early 90s, uh basically like one of like the larger like killings, I think of like 16 coworkers or something like that, basically finally set off like alarm bells. And I think there was a big I think it was a GAO report, Government Accountability Office report, that
Hmm.
basically was like, okay, there's something going on at the post office. Like, why does this keep happening? We got to look into it. And
Yeah.
apparently at that time, the work conditions at post offices were like absolutely abhorrent, not just like, oh, everyone's getting underpaid, but like bosses were super abusive, people were being overworked, people were like,
Mm.
someone slipped who was pregnant, lost her baby because of the fall, and the post office fired her, like
Oh, wow.
because she fell on the job. So it was like abusive conditions like crazy. And so they think that like that was a big impetus, is that like, yeah, it was just everyone was like abusing the system. All the managers were super abusive. And then it would similarly be like police departments where you would just get transferred to a different
Oh,
like
different
station office,
office.
if you
Yeah.
will, but like your record wouldn't necessarily go with you. So like you would just get
Mm.
transferred and then be able to like continue your abuse of like your employees and that kind of stuff. So, anyways, there's this
Damn.
horrible working conditions that they think set off, yeah, like this string of like mass murders all within the post office. So that's the phrase going postal. And then as you were talking today,
Wow.
and you were like, oh, my boss's wife was supposed to get this package, but I'm afraid of the dictator. And my immediate thought this time around was Jack Rabbit was afraid of his post office
His
boss.
boss.
He
Yeah.
was
He's like,
getting
my boss will
abused by
kill
this
me.
boss, and
Yeah.
he knew that if he fucked up again, he would get fired. He knew his boss's wife could not get that box of worms, or he was going to get
Yeah.
suspended from work. He was going to get fired from work, if not worse. Like there was this one quote in this article where it was like, one manager at a post office was like, "Oh yeah, no, I can suspend someone because then it takes so long to do the paperwork, but by the time they get fired, they'll have lost their house already." So it was like
Wow.
sadistic managers at the post office. Obviously not all post offices, but yeah. So anyways, that was my wild speculation, is that Jack was actually scared of his boss and was like, "Well, I'm so
Checks out.
desperate. My only solution is to invade enemy territory, switch the boxes. I'm actually afraid of my boss more than this dictator, this military
Yeah.
leader."
Right. It's like
And
I'm dead
thus,
either way.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Either way, I'm booked.
wow.
So, anyways, that's
Yeah.
what I think. That's a little
I
history
think that
lesson for
adds up.
everyone
Nice.
and
I think
wild
that adds up.
speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
The intersection of history and wild speculation.
Our
We love to see
favorite
it.
things.
Our favorite. That's where we live. We live at that
Yeah.
intersection.
It's the
Amazing.
abyss we live in.
I'm here for it. I
Yep.
like that.
So there you go.
I like
Great
that.
job.
Yeah.
Great
Thank
job on
you.
your second
Yes.
recap of this episode.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you were like, you know what, let's add something else to it then.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
A little
we have
extra
your back.
context.
Let me
Yeah.
add something else here that's fun and horrible.
It's life. Things happen. These things
Yeah,
happen.
exactly.
So yeah, but it's been fun. We've enjoyed this arc,
We
and it's hard to
have.
believe we're already done. We're already done with it, but
I know.
it's bittersweet because what we're doing next is always our absolute favorite time of
Ooh,
year.
boy.
We're getting into the
Yes.
holiday
Yes,
season
yes,
where if
yes.
you're new to this podcast, what we do is for the whole month of October, we just cover any episode of any cartoon that has to do with Halloween. For the whole month of November, we cover any episode of any cartoon that has to do with like autumn or fall or Thanksgiving. And then for December, we do a whole month of any episode of any cartoon that has to do with Christmas or winter or the winter holidays. So we're excited. Holiday arc's coming up, and spooky season is our favorite, which is what we're kicking off with first, obviously. So so stick around for that because it's going to be a free for all, whatever show we want. We're not doing any particular arc of any total shows.
Even less rules than we usually do.
Way less rules, especially in November. It gets a little fast and loose because like there aren't that many Thanksgiving episodes. So like if there's a brown leaf, if there's a leaf falling from a tree in an episode, we're allowed to use that episode during the fall. So we'll see. So things get fast and loose, but yes. So until we start the spooky season next week, Grace, who should they tell about this podcast? I wish I remembered who we said.
I know. That's what I was just thinking. I was like,
I kind of remember one of them, but yeah.
I don't remember any of them. But my dogs were barking a lot during this episode. So tell a dog sitter. It's nothing to do with this episode. Except the fact that Alexis will have to edit out dog barking. So it's a
I'll try. We'll see.
That we have to deal with.
I'll do my best.
You all probably hear them faintly. So tell a dog sitter who either or if you dog sit, tell the people who own the dog, just spread the word.
Yeah.
Spread the doggy word. Who else?
I think so. I'm going to steal what I think you said last time. If I remember, you said the person who's actually working behind the desk at the post office, because we've done.
That is what I said.
Yeah, it is. I don't remember what I said, but I remember what you said. We've done postal workers before. And like UPS and FedEx and all that. So we've covered all the, I think DHL is the last one we haven't covered yet. So we'll do them. That'll probably come up in Christmas. So I'll save that one. So tell the people actually working behind the desk at the post office when you're going in, especially with holiday season coming up, you're probably mailing letters, mailing packages, gifts, as long as they're not bombs or worms. Jewelry boxes are okay. Don't do worms though. That's shitty. No. So tell them.
Great. Amazing.
Right now. Yeah.
Incredible.
Cool.
All right.
Until then.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.